meeting of the 19th of August. I read the civic affirmation. We gather today to duly and faithfully carry out our duties to the best of our judgment and ability for the advancement of this district and the benefit of all of our community and fellow citizens. And Coorong District Council members acknowledge and pay respects to the Ngarrindjeri people, the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. We pay respect to all Australians who have made and continue to make a positive contribution to our culture and way of life in this country we live in and share together, Australia. Thank you. First item is apologies. Councillor O'Hara is away. Having a nice time, we trust. Watching Mick, hello. Councillors, I'm unaware of any apologies. Is that the case? Not apologies, acknowledgements, sorry. Move on. Declarations of conflict of interest. Councillors, I will leave the chamber in relation to the item in relation to the Drought Committee nominee stage, I think. Any others? There's no more. Can someone move item 4, confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary meeting of the 15th of July, please? Councillor Qualman. Need a seconder. Councillor Maidment, thank you. Any discussion? Being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against, that's carried unanimously. Number 5.1, Mayor seeking legal advice policy review. Actually, I do seek the Governance Officer's advice on this. Should I leave them this one too?
General interest.
Okay.
For this one.
Thank you. 5.1, sorry. Been to audit and risk. It's been to policy review. Someone, Councillor Peach, you moving that way?
I'll move that way.
You, is there a seconder? Maidment, oh, you.
Sorry.
Yep.
Yep, I'm happy
Very
to
quick
second it.
today.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
You want to speak to it, Councillor Peach?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think we're sort of getting close to balancing the concerns of with the need to provide this pathway forward for you or any future mayor to be able to engage for legal advice as required. I'm happy to move it on this basis. I think there's a couple of things that potentially still could be tidied up going forward, but I think as it stands, it's okay to proceed.
Thank you. Councillor Maidment, seconder.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I procrastinated on this policy for quite a while, I will admit. Having reread about 5 times, I'm quite happy to leave the clause I was concerned about in. I think it's rounds off the policy better than I thought it did, so I'm happy to move as is.
Thank you. Councillor Roundtree.
Question, under 2 scope, the second paragraph, is that actually necessary to be there? It just says in most cases the CEO is responsible for obtaining or authorising an employee to obtain legal advice on behalf of council. The exceptions to this general are outlined in this policy. Just wondering whether that's standard, isn't it?
I think it just provides absolute completeness.
Okay.
I think that's an important voice.
Because the mayor's not an employee of council.
No, what it's really talking about is, in most circumstances, the CEO is able to acquire legal advice, and I think that clause is allowing the reader to understand that in circumstances, it's actually legal advice relating to the CEO that may.
Okay.
And there's plenty of examples, right, where that has occurred, and the policy is being used currently to the council to decide on their actions.
So my second question then is the delegation at the end, it says here, the delegation given to the CEO to approve, amend and review internal procedures relating to this policy. I find that just a little bit confusing. Can you just provide clarification around the scope and limits of that authority? So what does it actually mean that the CEO can approve, amend and review internal procedures? What are the internal procedures that would be able to be amended by the CEO? I don't know what that looks
Yeah.
like.
Oh, they're primarily ones that relate to staff.
HR one.
It wouldn't include this policy. This policy is clearly one that the chamber needs to.
That's why I was confused it was in there.
To you, Council, Chair, we'll come back. If there's any, it doesn't come to mind, but if there is a policy internally that references this policy, then what it's saying is I've got the delegation to do the internal one. I'll come back out of session with a list of policies, if there are any, that references this one. We didn't do that bit of work for this policy.
The councillors. Councillor Peach, you can close.
I'll close.
Motion is as it reads in the recommendation, councillors. All those in favour? Those against, that's carried unanimously. Number 2 of the adjourned business is dissolution of the Tail and Bend Town Hall Committee. Councillor Peach.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move this but varied so that it reads as on the screen, followed by the words, council reiterates that section 41 committees are the preferred option for council groups involved with council assets and functions.
Repeat that.
So leave the words as currently there and add council reiterates that section 41 committees are the preferred option for council groups involved with council assets and functions or functions.
Yeah, I'm troubled with that.
It's relevant to the topic of conversation here.
It's relevant to a broader position.
We get it up there so we can actually
It locks in future.
see 100% what we're talking about.
I'm happy for some of these words to be varied. This is just what came to mind actually. Or council affirms, probably remove reiterates. Council affirms that section 41 committees are the preferred option for council groups involved with council assets or functions.
Do you mean?
Yeah.
It does go against what is currently considered standard practice around how section 41s are utilised. In local government across South Australia, there is a move away from section 41s because of the cumbersome nature of them, and that there are other mechanisms. I would suggest that there would be some advice about, we would do some work behind the scenes about that rather than lock in future councils to that, but that's entirely up to the chamber, me.
So I have 2 views. There's a bit of settle on one. I think it could be a second motion today, but I would very much prefer it to be a motion on notice at the next meeting. I actually don't think I'm going to allow it in relation to this motion because this is around just the winding up of a committee, and then it's almost a policy position alongside of that, I believe.
Mr. Mayor, this is about winding up a committee and making sure it doesn't set a precedent, which is where my motion comes in. So if that's the basis, I'll withdraw my motion and move that this item be adjourned.
Can we adjourn an adjourned motion? So it's been moved that this item be adjourned. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Bland, sorry.
Me.
Yeah, sorry. That will be put immediately. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Right. Move to item 5.1, the Mayor's report. Councillors, is there any questions? Councillor Roundtree.
9th of July, the Drought Commissioner's visit to Coomandoo.
Yep.
What did you learn?
It was very early in his tenure. I think Tracy at the back for organising that. We learnt that if he come to Coomanduk, it rained.
It rained when he visited.
Yes, it was very convenient. And he attended the Coomanduk Ag Bureau straight after that. Probably one of the first, probably in his first week of being in this role. He is, as he would describe, ground truthing what's happening out in rural communities around the drought.
What does that mean?
Probably reporting back directly to the Minister and the Premier around where things are at and how government programs are potentially working, and probably putting, I will call it spot fires, around, people in a desperate spot at a certain time. And some others haven't appreciated his role is not part of the bureaucracy in this case. It's more to see how everything is going.
Was it evident to him that things weren't working well, that some of the policies put in place
Not
aren't
yet.
helping?
It's only about 4 or 5 days in. He was collecting information, listening. He's had several other roles like this previously, like in terms of Pinery Fire, the Cuddly Creek Fire, the floods, I believe, and the River Murray. So he's obviously well regarded by the state government in terms of being an independent spotter, I suppose I'd call it.
So he doesn't work for the government?
Well, he's paid by the government, but yeah, at the end of the day, he's not part of the bureaucratic process of the government.
But he's still paid by them now.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what happened there. Other questions, councillors? Councillor Coleman, sorry.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. July the 15th, meeting with Deputy Mayor, CEO, Tarn Bend Community Centre Chair and CEO, Tarn Bend. Please.
I'd say we'd like to meet with them as often as they can, and we do. I think we'll have to have a discussion in this chamber at some stage about whether we as this chamber wish to support them more, and I mean dollars now.
Okay.
I think that'd be the broadest.
Wellness briefing need to go.
Can I
down.
There's a briefing for us to go there,
Yeah.
for us to visit there. There you go. I know you walk past it frequently, councillor.
Thank you. All right.
But yeah, and obviously they're, in the expansion mode around the station master's house, which is, and but so, yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
We'll be having further engagement with them in the near future around
21st, we're visiting them.
October the 21st. I'm just trying to,
Mr. Mayor,
as a group of elected members, is that right? Yes.
can I provide some comment on that meeting?
And
So part of that too, Councillor Coleman, was, I suppose, drawing out some of the things that had come up in the public community and council and community session around some of their increased demand in our district regarding their health services. And it was quite remarkable just how much the oncology transports had spiked. I think that was from nothing to, the difference over 3 years was quite high. So some of that, it's good to get an understanding of some of that work that they're doing within the council district.
Thank you, Councillor.
Councillor Maben.
Thank you, Mayor, through you, about you, of course. July 16th, the meeting, should that read with CEO and Naranjeri Aboriginal Corporation? You're not having a meeting with yourself, I gather.
Depends how you read it, doesn't it?
But I would like to
We try to
know
meet at least
how that went.
Might not got a good result out of me. So we try as frequently as we can, and as it's a more harder project to arrange because of various reasons, of course. With the Naranjeri, with the NAC, which is the official authority for how we would relate for most issues, and it was a very friendly and convivial meeting as always. So.
Very good, thank you.
Other questions? There is no more. I'll move on, and I see we have no council reports this month. Item 7, petitions, we have none. Item 8, we have no deputations to my knowledge. And public question time, best of my knowledge, we have none. 10.1, decision report. I will vacate the chamber, please, for the purpose of a bit about me.
Thank you. The Mayor's left the room at 10:18. Are there any questions, sort of administration, before we proceed with this item 10.1 from councillors?
I'll move the motion.
I'm happy to
Thank
second
you.
it.
Moved. Councillor Arthur, seconded Councillor Roundtree, as it reads. Councillor Arthur, wish to speak to your motion?
I think he's the man for the job, and we're very confident he'll do us proud.
Ditto.
Yep. Councillor Maiden?
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just a quick question. How long will this go for? There's no real time frame. Will it run till the end of at least this term and then we'd have to readdress, or? Because we could be in drought again next year. God forbid we are, but
Chair, it's an open-ended one. I
is.
suspect it will be a point in time somewhere in the future, a bit like any agency where the government decides that the extraordinary processes in place no longer are needed. So,
yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Any
Closed.
closed? For the motion, all those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. I get the Mayor.
Tracy Ken.
You're it, mate.
Mary Johnson. Next one.
Number 2, I presume with that. Yep. Thank you. Coastal Algal Bloom, South Australia. There is a recommendation, councillors. Is someone prepared to move it? Councillor Bland, thank you.
I would like to amend it,
Right.
like a point 3, that the Coorong District Council provides a delegate or request a delegate through the Mayor of the City of Holfast Bay to attend a meeting in Canberra.
And when you say delegate, councillor, are you referring to a staff member or elected member?
I'm referring to potentially, if you can't do it, Mr Mayor, then potentially the Deputy Mayor to attend.
So you are referring to an elected member, right?
May I speak to this?
Requests.
We're just checking the wording, whether
Yeah.
it's a delegate to or through.
Say that again, sorry,
We're just checking the wording, councillor, to see whether it provides a delegate to because Holfast Bay are the
oh,
organisers,
sorry, yes, no, through.
or through.
I mean, the process here is that, as I see, a series of councils, the one that's missing is the Coorong.
And
yet
that's why we
have
thought,
both South and Lake Albert involved in this algal bloom, and yet we are not at the table again.
Hmm.
They have invited.
all councils have been invited.
And we didn't respond.
Oh, no, this is it.
Okay, I just read that as being definitive in that we have so then I would move that the Deputy Mayor or the Mayor or Deputy Mayor attend on behalf of the Coorong District Council.
Is it currently lists the delegation members without somebody from Coorong?
Yep. Am I misreading this?
Hold fast, Bay, just take the capital F out, please, yeah.
As a delegate.
Is
to
Through you, Mayor.
this is in relation to going to Canberra as a delegation, or is this on to a committee led by, and I don't know if it's got LGA endorsement yet, around algal bloom? Councillor, sorry, I'll finish with you. I'm going to.
Mr Mayor, Coorong is missing in action if we're not at the table, either as a delegate or through LGA. we as a council have been through this in the past in a similar fashion with the Millennium Drought because we don't have the strongest voice. And yet we have the Coorong is considered to be iconic worldwide, and we have Lake Albert, which will also seriously impact our waterways. This will impact our waterways and the economy overall, whether it be tourism or fishing.
To you, Mayor. Can I just, we do have a staff member who is involved, similar to Tracy taking the lead on the drought. Sam is taking the lead on the, this participation in events and in any sort of webinars that are happening. So we do have somebody at the table, but this is the first request for a delegate to go to Canberra.
And my point, and I acknowledge Sam's contribution. However, I think in this case, with a delegation to go to Canberra and looking at the individuals who are nominated there, that I think it needs to be either the deputy or the mayor. Should they choose to be able to break.
I want to add the words "if possible." I don't know that the delegation won't be capped at a size. That's.
Then we should be there regardless.
And take off some of the other professors at the end of it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Bespoke approach could come off.
Coorong Council is affected.
The bespoke approach.
Hmm.
That's been Councillor Land is the mover of that. With that addition, is there a seconder? I'm going to take our MDA delegate, Councillor Qualman. You want to speak to it, Councillor Qualman?
I totally agree with what Councillor Bland is just contributed then. We sort of be, and the way this reads, that we're going to be left out again, or we've been left out once before, and the Coorong alarm bells are ringing down there. So I think this is the best way to address and get someone to go to Canberra and listen to us. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to add? Councillor Roundtree?
Yes, I've done a bit of reading on many different forums about this issue, and one of the things that alarms me is that they believe that this issue now is already not savable, that we're in more of a crisis control situation and that it could be 80 years or more before this ecosystem recovers from. Now that's probably the most alarmist, and hopefully it's not that, but this is going to have a very, very big and long-term effect on all our fishing areas. And I think we're going to be in a position of the government having to look at helping financially with licenses and buybacks and all of those things, because I just don't see how this is actually going to recover. Coming into summer, this is actually going to get worse. And we had an opportunity 18 months ago as a government to fix this or to do something to remedy it, and it wasn't done then, and now it's almost too late. So I think we have to be at this table, and we've got to be fighting hard for this region, because there's going to be a lot of pain in the Coorong with this for years, decades to come. This is bigger than I'd ever understood it to be.
Other people in this debate? Councillor Peach?
Question, Mr. Mayor. The Senate inquiry into this closes on the 22nd of August. Have we put a submission in, or are we going to? And if we haven't, could we?
But we can.
We haven't, but we can.
It is only a couple of days now till it does close. So, I just note some of the conversations I had in Canberra last time I was there. There does seem to be a lack of understanding around the severity of it from some parliamentarians.
Okay, we're in debate. Councillors, anyone else? Councillor Arthur, you're
I've just got one.
ready to go.
When is this delegation supposed to be going to Canberra?
Next week.
Next week it says there.
And she said we are doing something for the 22nd submission.
And I've just got the hint that, more than the hint, that we will be putting a submission in.
Sorry?
Got the hint that we will be putting a submission into this process, and it is next week. So that's why, if it's possible to join the delegation, we will. I don't know that it will be possible. I just don't know.
If you don't have a council.
But haven't we been invited? It didn't, isn't that what it was just said? We have been invited, so we just say yes.
It's next week.
is there a possibility through you, Mayor, if either of you can't go and we need to have this region represented, that there is somebody in the region who has a wealth of knowledge on the subject that could go as our representative? And I'm thinking a fisherman, an ecologist, or someone that we know of in the district that has skills and the language to talk well on the subject, that we could appoint them to go in our place?
Well, not by that motion, but the invite apparently is directly to mayors.
But sometimes the mayors wouldn't be across all the intricate issues, that there might be someone better in our community that could argue the point.
There
and
might be.
make the
I
point.
heard one last night on the radio.
Yeah, I think we've got some good people that are very much across.
This
in
stage,
our
you want to
region.
vary that or not?
Well, councillor Bam, what do you think? Motion?
The delegation is quite political, and therefore my preference at this point in time is to find out whether the mayor or the deputy mayor can attend, because I think it is a political committee by looking at that, and I agree that there are people not disagreeing with that, and that may be a committee that this council forms, look at the issues ourselves in the future, to help deal with it and keep council fully informed. However, I think I'd like to see a political person, delegate at this point.
So, through you, Mayor, what date do we actually know the date of this delegation?
29th.
Thursday, Friday next.
Is that confirmed by Canberra yet?
The dates.
Okay.
If I can, yeah, I'll just flag I'm in WA those dates. For a couple of days, so I'm definitely out as being able.
Councillor Coleman could be an alternative as our MDA rep in alongside.
That's fine.
So we vary that, given that knowledge, thank you, Deputy Mayor, to councillor Coleman and just as council's MDA rep and or I'm not sure of the dates either yet.
Is councillor Coleman able to do that? Those dates, Thursday and Friday?
That you can't do it.
No, I don't know.
If it was the 28th and 29th, Mayor, could you do it?
Well, I don't know that they're going for both days. You go to Canberra and back in a day if you're doing a delegation.
Through you, Mayor, I suspect that we probably need to allow enough scope here to work this out after the meeting. So I'd be in support of that and or other elected member. So it gives a precedence order, but it enables us to be part of the delegation.
If it's okay through you, Mayor, if we take out councillor Coleman and we just put other elected member, and councillor Coleman you work out whether you can, and then if you can't, then other elected member will kick in.
Yes, thank you, because it's, I'd like to help out if I could, Mr Mayor. Yeah, it's a bit short notice, but yeah, I think that's worded a bit better, takes the pressure off a bit. Thank you.
Okay, I need a seconder. Councillor Roundtree is the seconder. No, councillor Coleman, did you already seconded it or not?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, sorry, the screen doesn't show that, sorry. Any further debate, councillors? Councillor Bland, you'll close.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. It is important, I believe, that we have one of our senior members of council as possible at the table and in the future as well. That is not taking away from anything the staff are doing, and that council be kept fully informed of where this is going. It does affect a significant section of the council area. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to motion, councillors, it's now three parts, as you can see on the screen. All those in favour? Those against, that's carried unanimously. Number 3, long-term financial plan for the next 10 years. I start with the mover. Someone prepared to move it. Councillor Roundtree, you're moving? a seconder? Councillor Bland. Councillor Roundtree, you want to speak to the motion?
Not much more to add. I thought it made sense. Maybe when it talks about the plan as amended, maybe we could just discuss what was actually amended.
Just a couple of sentences that councillor Peach.
Obviously it went to the finance committee. I think councillor Peach had a few tweaks that were undertaken, especially in terms of the separation out of rates, general rates and service charges, and how that relates to CPI. So that's been corrected. It also then went to the Audit and Risk Committee last week, and there were a couple of items that that were adjusted out of that. I mean, they're really very much technicalities and, you know, the preferences in the way things are expressed by individual member of the Audit and Risk Committee, Peter Scargill. Nothing material.
Yeah. Thank you.
Councillor Bland?
I did, no, I'm happy with that.
Anyone else?
Just quickly,
Councillor Arthur, yeah.
I voted against this at the meeting and I'll vote against it today because it doesn't made allowances for known things, known expenditure. As we know, with some of the projects that we have to contribute to, even though one would say they're not our problem. And that's over probably a 3 or 4 year span, which means that to maintain what we've got here, something will have to go off, and normally that's roads, which we've been underspending on. And one of the things that it also does, the long-term financial plan has quite a considerable rate increase again next year. And if we went to the Escosa Port, you know, one of the things that says council should consider limiting the future increases in reduce rates, any emerging affordability risk in this community. And also about the amount of capital works is probably not sustainable. And we've got $91 million worth of capital works in this budget over a 10-year period. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Roundtree will close.
Close.
So the motion is as it reads. All those in favour? Those against? That's carried. With Councillor Arthur voting against it and other 5 councillors in the room today voting for it. Thank you. Community Vision Plan number item 4 is requested. Council receive and note the report. Councillor, someone prepare to move that way, please. Councillor Maidment, thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Trimey. In search of a seconder. It's a requirement of the Act we do it, councillors. Councillor
No.
Coleman.
The question.
Yes, the question.
So under consultant activities, the first dot point is engagement planning, 1 consultant. Then the second dot point is community aspirations, phase 1, which has 3 consultants. And then it lists a whole lot of things like graphic designing, putting a notice on in the school newsletter, website content and an email and a postcard. 3 consultants. Then a community workshop, 2 consultants. I gather this is 3 max, 1 minimum, but then the draft community vision plan phase 2 does all the same thing again with graphics for posters and QR codes and emails and things like that. It just, is that not overkill?
I take that on.
Certainly.
Worship. So
A lot of consultants.
I mean, the first step is to go out to the community with the broad themes not with a draft plan, with the broad themes, and have conversations with the community and seek their feedback on what are the key issues council should be working on in the next 4 years, what are their priorities. So it deliberately a creative, open conversation. From that, then that feeds into the drafting of the plan itself. And the second phase is going out with a draft plan, with a full draft plan, and seeking feedback in the same sense that you would, that second phase is similar to the annual business plan process. It is necessary, and in order to ensure at the end, when you produce this strategic plan for the next 4 years, and especially leading into an election next year, it's really important to be able to say that the process was valid, the process was thorough, and that everyone got their opportunity to have a say, noting that this is the key document that drives the strategic direction of the council. This process also very clearly complies, I know it's draft, but it complies with the draft community engagement charter that is being developed by the LGA at the moment. It would meet the requirements also of the state government, noting that this document also is used front and centre for any funding applications that council undertakes. And to be able to show that we've gone through appropriate level of community engagement, it just really says the end result is valid. And
I'm not disagreeing that the approach is correct. I'm disagreeing, do we need that many, 3 consultants to do it?
no, I don't think you've got, we haven't got 3 consultants.
There's
I think
3
that might be
consultants.
3. Well, unfortunately, Emily's not here, but we don't have 3 separate consultants. We have one consultant involved in community engagement, only one. I think what she might be saying, both 3 occasions. So if it's a session,
Oh, I see.
yeah. So they have
3
one-
meetings.
Yeah. We only
Yes,
3 consultations. We have one.
maybe the word should be consultations.
Yeah, don't read it that way. Apart from community engagement consultant, the only other external support we have is the graphics.
So is any of this being done internally?
There's a large amount of work still being done internally, but within the capacity that we have, and things such as setting up the meetings, organising the community meetings, catering, etc. But at the same time, we'll have a significant amount of work happening internally as well with Wellington East. We'll also be gearing up for the structure plan, and we also have the annual report. Well, so this has been worked out as to, what's the capacity for our internal staff to contribute, and what level of support do we need externally from consultants. This is how this has been worked out.
And confirming the amount for the consultant is about 70,000?
No.
Is that right?
No. So
Never has been
As per the
70.
budget.
the entire budget is $40,000. That involves graphics, it involves the meetings. The consultant budget's at the moment somewhere around about 31,000, but as we know, that was based on a previous scope. So we'd have to go back to them with this scope and get a new price, but it wouldn't be more than that.
I'd note that we do need some independence in this process, otherwise it could be perceived to be driven by us as the elected members or us internally. I've noted other councils that have tried to do some of these community engagements internally and a little crash. Councillor Peach,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
then Councillor Bland, sorry.
The last question asked by Councillor Roundtree was one of the 2 I had, was that has the price dropped since we raised the issue at the last meeting?
No. I mean, we're rarely looking to, if council are content with what's been presented, then we'll go through and get a revised fee, but it will be lower than the initial consultation.
Yeah, and the second question through you, Mayor, was regarding our engagement activities, particularly social media posts. Has any work been done on boosting key posts geographically and follower locked?
We can do that when we need to.
Yeah, but can that be incorporated somehow into the way we go forward? Is there a document that can be incorporated in? Because I think at the moment our social media, and I can't see the statistics on it, but just looking at the number of engagements that we're getting in terms of likes and so forth, it doesn't seem to be performing well. And I think it's key with these sorts of things that we actually target.
We can boost, and that's not a very expensive exercise either.
No.
It does cost money, but it's not expensive.
Through the chair, there's a few other avenues that we're looking at, like mayoral videos that do actually get quite a bit of engagement with our Facebook followers and a few things like that. So we can
You know,
supplement.
boy.
Councillor Bland.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to go back to the councillor Roundtree's comments about the number of consultants. And it does tend to indicate that there are 3, page 25, consultant activities. When you look at that, it does talk about 2 attending, 1 attending, 2 attending, and it is actually not clear whether we're talking about one consultant firm with a team of 3 or 3 consultants. Language is.
I take that on,
Right, yeah.
whereas in terms of firms,
Yes.
there is only, there's the graphics firm and there is the engagement specialist firm. And there'll be
2 firms.
two firms involved providing external support. It may very well be that, you know, we can give clarification whether that 2 times, 3 times is actually means there's 3 of them attending or 1 of them attending. We can clarify that.
Just the language probably needs.
Yeah, that's.
Sorry, the CEO.
For you, Mayor, I suspect what it means is that we have a contract, as Miles said, with a firm, and Emily has detailed how they will provide the work to us. So in a sense, how they provide the work to us is interesting, but if they want to use 1 consultant or 2, I suspect if we went back and said we only want to pay for 1 consultant, they might say go and find somebody else, because how they organise their work behind the scenes is entirely up to them. We give them a brief about what we want.
As long as that brief then just says, this is what we agreed to pay you, this is what you agreed to do. If they want to involve 10 people,
That's exactly.
that's their choice. So that doesn't bother me, so long as we're not paying for 3 separate consultants to do
no.
that body of work, because that body of work does not look like enough to keep 3 consultants busy.
Correct, Councillor Roundtree.
So my other question then, when we receive, and it says here, we're going to receive and note the report, so the motion would be to receive and note the report. That means we are agreeing by doing that to a consultant. But then, as we say, this is a compulsory thing that council has to do, so it's out of our hands anyway in some ways, isn't it? Because we got to do it
Yes.
regardless. Why does it come to council? For us to vote on
It's
it,
here,
just to note it?
No, it's actually here because previously we presented information and
Chamber.
it was purely just for information, and we were going to move forward straight away, but there was a fair bit of conversation within the chamber. And there is a request for more detailed breakdown. And remember, we're talking about, and Bridget always uses this, fish where the fishes are. Fish where the fishes are. And a bit more detail on that, and that's why it's come back.
Just to inform the chamber, basically.
So it's going ahead regardless, basically.
Just Councillor Bland, then Councillor Arthur.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the proposed engagement sessions seems limited in some areas, and I look at the Canalpin shows covering pretty much Canalpin to Tintinara. Meningie Progress is covering Meningie to Salt Creek to Raupen to out of Narung, and Peak is covering another small section. I'm just wondering whether we have some gaps and how we're going to deal with
There'll be more. Yeah. So when this report was coming together, I sat down with Emily and Ben and Kelly. And Kelly had just got back to work last week and she had a lot of creative ideas. We did recognise that there'd be more opportunities. And there was talk about bowling and, other activities, other groups. So this will be added to. But it won't add to the consultancy scope or dollars.
To you, Mayor, if councillors in your day-to-day interactions with the community, if you're aware of something that may be suitable for an engagement session, please let us know. We're quite happy to then work with that community group about what they might want from it.
Councillor Arthur.
Just one question. This will be finished in the 25-26 budget year. We've got $40,000 allocated for it, so we will have there's nothing for 26-27.
No, it has
Go
to
on
be,
with.
it actually, has to be finished by March next year. March next year is the
Or we're still having,
latest. Because of it's a legislative requirement, and it has a deadline.
we're still having consultations in March though.
It'll get finished.
It'll get finished.
Yeah.
The other reason it needs to get finished in March is because it feeds into the budget process.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? The amendment, you'll close.
Close.
So the recommendation is that, or the motion is that council receive and note the report. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried with councillor Peach voting against it and other councillors voting for it. Carried. Number 5, section 270 annual review. Internal review of council decisions is a simple recommendation to councillor Roundtree. You moving?
Yep.
You're a seconder. Councillor Qualman. Want to discuss it, councillors? Right forward. All right, I'm going to put the recommendation as the motion. All those in favour? Against, that's carried unanimously. Number 6, Wadmore House encumbrance. The recommendation, councillors. Councillor Bland, are you moving that way? Is there a seconder? Councillor Peach. Councillor Bland, you want to speak to it?
Yes, Mr Mayor, I think overall the community will be very excited about seeing this encumbrance be removed. And I'm assuming that very soon in the near future, we will be having some discussion about how to move forward and talk to community about the whole issue of Wadmore House.
We're planning to have a workshop, councillors, with the encumbrance being removed. It provides a whole lot of opportunity to discuss other things. And we're just looking at the exact date, but I think it's in October, that briefing.
Councillor Peach.
I'll second what the council said. I think it's fantastic that we've got to this point after it seemed like we wouldn't. So I think it does open up a lot of other opportunities. I do just have one question, if I may, and it may have been flagged before, but the lease with Arana, was that lease properly vacated?
Wouldn't be the way I'd put it, councillor.
It was before my time, but my understanding is that they just left the building.
I'm just wondering if we could ascertain that the lease has been terminated.
We can follow off that
Best of my
paperwork.
knowledge, it was, but I
It
never
has
seen
to
any
be,
piece of
yeah.
paper.
Yeah, I'd just like to make sure that that is the case before the encumbrance is removed.
Point, but
So you, assuming there was a lease in place in the first place.
there was lease in place about the same time as the caravan park.
Councillor Maidman.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, just on that question, you would hopefully, or the encumbrance to come off, terminated in order for that to come off. The Minister of the Education would have looked into that, but I support Councillor
check.
Peach's query on that. But I do have one other question and a clarification, just for my own peace of mind. When the encumbrance comes off, is there no more restrictions at all on this property?
It's all been done. We've just found the, it must have been just as I started by the looks of it. Yep, 2020. So it's all been released. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't know if councillor Maidment's question was answered.
No, I'm trying to recollect it now.
So councillor Maidment's asking that if, once the encumbrance is lifted, are there then no
More restrictions on that property. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Close.
Yes, Mr Mayor, I would like to thank the staff for and elected members who have been involved in discussions with the department to getting to this point. It has been a long process, but I can assure you that already community have made a number of phone calls to me and they're quite excited about what can and happen in the future, and the workshop will start to flesh that out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Closed.
Motion is, as is the recommendation, councillors. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Number 7, new community land management plan for the Tintinara residential units. There's a recommendation, councillors. Someone prepared to move it? Councillors Arthur and Rountree. Councillor Arthur, you want to speak to it?
I think this has been a long time coming. It's been there was probably a bit of a little bugbear when you've got everywhere people are crying for accommodation. You've got accommodation you can't use. So this has been great work by the staff to get this to where it is, and it's been a bit of a pity really when you've got, you know, a unit, 2-bedroom unit, beautiful unit, sitting vacant for nearly 2.5 years.
Councillor Rountree.
I second what councillor Arthur has said. It's now going to give us a bit more flexibility and it would be nice to see it getting used. So good result all round, and thank you to everyone involved.
Anyone else? No other speakers. Councillor Arthur, you'll close.
Most.
So the motion is in, the recommendation or the motion in now is in 2 parts. As it reads in the agenda. All those in favour? Those against? That's carried unanimously. Number 8.
Mr. Mayor, just one question out of this. How long do you think this process is going to take?
To you, Mayor, I'll look to the person who knows about that stuff.
Couple of years.
It won't occur before I retire. That's absolutely given.
A given.
I would say 2 years, potentially 2 to 3. I'd like to think it'd be a lot quicker than that, but you know,
History tells us.
it's been, you know, a few years getting to this point. I could be wrong, you know, we might get it done quicker than that, but I just think be patient, give it another 2 years.
So in other words, we could have an asset sitting there, could be used in need of needs for
I think
3 years.
we'll be in position. So when I talk about everything, so these are all steps forward. I think we'll be in position to have the properties rented, all of the properties rented within the next year. But that's not the end of the story. You know,
No.
council then has an asset that they can decide about. It's a bit like, you know, the encumbrance with Wadmore House. It's lifted and then all of a sudden there's a huge amount of options that council consider. Council may decide that it's not in the game of being a landlord and it may want to sell the properties. So the ultimate, you know, process of going from providing retirement villages accommodation to council being able to decide that it may not be the owners of these units is probably 2 to 3 years.
For you, Meg, we're very aware, and it's not from our end. We constantly keep the pressure up. Wadmore House is an example on the state government, but we also have to be aware that things don't move as quickly sometimes as we would like.
So you worship, also point out that we're going to go into caretaker mode with state government early next year. And then we're going caretaker mode with council before November elections, and that's going to affect activity over 2026, and it's something we're turning our mind to now, is to, you know, factor in a few minor delays.
The councillor, I'd imagine, since you and me have been in this chamber for a fair while, that we various funding encumbrances and processes here to protect residential homes that we have to negotiate even now. More hoops to jump through than we would like sometimes. It is a shame we can't use them in the meantime, but it's the way it works. Okay, who else? No other speakers. We got a mover in a sec. We have, no, we're done. That was a question. Sorry, we've done with that item. Snuck that question in, councillor. We move to item 8, Coorong Assessment Panel sitting fees. Councillor Coleman, you'll move that because you don't receive any fees out of this.
I don't get it.
And councillor Bland, were you the seconder? Councillor Coleman, you want to speak to it or not?
If I just want to say everything seems to be going okay on the assessment. We don't meet that very often, as it says in the report, probably 3 times a year, and the amounts shown are reasonable. Thank you.
Councillor Bland?
Same. No further comment.
Anyone else? Okay, you've closed. I'm going to put the recommendation as it reads. Councillors, all those in favour? Those against? That's carried unanimously. Asset Accounting Policy Review, item 9. Can I move that way, please? Councillor Peach, you moving?
Yep.
You're a seconder? Councillor Roundtree. Councillor Peach, you want to speak to it?
Just briefly, I think this policy has matured through the process. There's some really good points raised by elected members and by Audit and Risk, I think, that have really tidied it up. And I'm quite happy to move it.
You, Councillor Roundtree?
Nothing further.
Anyone else, councillors? Councillor Coleman?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Now, I might completely go off track here, but I sort of get right into this asset renewal or asset accounting, and I just have concerns that I couldn't find it, and maybe it's under some other policy, that how we ascertain our life of our asset, and mainly deterioration. And what I'm pointing out here or trying to bring up is that of the Rung Jetty, and I just wonder if it's in here or there's another policy regarding timetable on inspections to see how deteriorated or the life of our assets. Is this in here or is it another policy again? Thank you.
Through the chair, it cuts across a couple of different aspects. The asset management plans in particular identify useful lives, and we use deterioration curves or deterioration models to help develop those renewal plans. In terms of useful lives as well, that comes as part of the valuations part of the equation as well. So when we get independent valuations done across our assets, they'll do a benchmark against industry averages and make sure that what we're saying the useful lives are in line with best practice. In terms of regimes around inspections and that sort of thing, typically as part of our maintenance programs, we'll have scheduled inspections of various assets that in a perfect world will pick up deterioration prior to I guess what's happened with Narang Jetty, and if that's what you like.
And through you, Mayor, each asset class has different, as the name suggests, different assets, and they all have different depreciation schedules. They all have different maintenance schedules. So that's almost a report of a policy procedure below this one.
I just thought I'd ask that question because I thought it's valid, especially in things that deteriorate like jetties and so forth. Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions, councillors? Councillor Arthur?
Just with this, we've been spoken about, I think, nearly 3 years now, the upgrading of the assets, depreciation policy, or not policy, but the actual depreciation figures. We haven't seen these for quite a while. So in the long-term financial plan, in the budget this year, it said it could be quite an increase in the, we were talking 6 million maybe to $10 million over a period of the long-term financial plan. When are we going to get the actual, I know we've been told it's a new server has taken over or a new depreciation mob. We used to have the roads done by separate mob. So when will these be available so we can, some better idea, particularly in your long-term financial plan of what it would think? Because, like in the ASCOSA report, it says that we've told ASCOSA we cannot fund our unsealed and sealed roads, our basic biggest asset, and we've said we can't fund it to 100%. Well, that's what it says in the ASCOSA report.
As we've explained previously, we acknowledge that we weren't 100% funding renewal, and there was a stepped approach to get back up to 100% renewal funding. And so I think we're at 85% this financial year, and there is each year for the next 3 financial years, there'll be an increase in our depreciation cost and a increase in our renewal funding. So we are working back towards 100% renewal. In terms of valuations and updated depreciation, as we presented in a workshop a little while ago, buildings, we're working through the buildings, condition audits and asset management plan, updated depreciation schedules. So that'll be towards the end of this year. And then we'll be moving on to stormwater and water systems as the next asset class to be updated. So we're making progress.
Yeah. Once again, my question, how long before we'll see these figures? End of the year? You just said for the road side?
For building
side?
Yep, buildings. Roads, Joel, just correct me if I'm wrong, but roads is already, we're comfortable with the roads. We've moved roads into the new asset system, but that doesn't change the valuations, doesn't change the depreciation schedules. We're comfortable with that. And as I said, we're working towards 100% renewal in that incremental 5% increase each financial year. Buildings will be updated at the end of the year, by the end of the year.
Buildings, yeah.
And then we've got the 2 remaining ones is plant and fleet, which we will be doing an update before the end of the financial year as well. And then off the back of Wellington East that project being completed, we'll then move to water and water systems and stormwater as the final asset class that needs to be up. Once that's completed, we then we'll go back to roads again, and we'll start the process again through each of those asset classes.
Yep.
So just to you, Mayor, remember, Councillor, a couple of meetings ago, we showed you where we were up to with the buildings. I think your comments about things increasing around depreciation was around the buildings because they hadn't been valued for quite a long time. We also made a comment, I think, at that meeting that the increase may not be as big as we expect because there are some assets in that category that probably shouldn't be on our books that maybe belong to the state, and why they're on our books is probably something that we need to debate with the state. So that work will be really quite visible by the time we do the valuations and finish the work with the buildings.
Yeah, and one thing further to what the CEO has just raised is audit and risk spoke about this last week about desktop unit rate reviews each year. So typically unit rates, valuations, lives are done once every 4 years, but because of cost of doing business, cost of construction materials, there's been significant jumps in those unit rates, which increases depreciation. So they recommended that we do desktop unit rate reviews each year across all asset classes, so you don't get that huge jump when it comes time to update your asset management plans.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Being none, I return to Councillor Peach as the mover.
Close.
Closed. The motion is as the recommendation is, councillors. All those in favour? Those against? That's carried unanimously. Number 10, Minutes of the meeting held on the 5th of August. Does someone move that way, please? Anyone? Council or who's going to get named? Number 10. Okay. Hoover. Councillor Roundtree is the second. Any commentary on them at all? Being none.
Sorry.
Councillor Arthur.
Now, I just got one question. That's regarding the 15% and 10%. And could the CEO enlighten us how we can actually do that? Present as per the motion?
Councillor, you're talking about the capping.
Sorry? Yes, yes.
So there was a motion, as you're suggesting, and when we start the budget discussions with you next year, we will do that modelling on a 10% and a 15% as asked by that motion. So that will be part of the suite of information that we present to you at that time.
My question is, how do you get that information? Because the only way you know it is that individuals get their rates notice. It's not a 15% or 10% overall. If you go back through the last few years, it's been, like it was 5, 6, 7,000, but because of the increase in values, particularly down our way and Canalpin, there was $23,000 and $27,000 refunded because of the over 15%.
Right. So
I just can't work out, unless you're going to sit down there, you've got some staff member, they're going to sit down and compare your value. Firstly, it works on your valuations for each individual account.
Your question is, how does it happen mechanically on the day?
That's exactly right.
I don't know, and it'll be a very good challenge for the system, I'd say.
Well,
through you, Mayor, it's a combination of science and formulas and historical information. So it'll never be precise. We certainly don't sit down ratepayer by ratepayer. That would be a mission impossible in terms of resource allocation. But we do know historically how many people apply. We'd probably take a guess at how many may apply next time. It's a bit like how we've tried to work out what the risk is around the drought. So, and that the prediction may come true or it may be slightly out. We probably are more on the conservative side, probably allocating a little bit more than we would expect based on historical knowledge, so that the budget's not short. But because it's not a large amount of money in the scheme of things, but it's the best guess, I suppose, of what's happened in the past versus what the current conditions are now.
yeah, well, now it appears, it's been the rural, there's been big increases. Now it appears to be, down our way any rate, an increase of a house from $550,000, $700,000 in value, from 480 to 650. These are huge increases, but they won't show up within your system unless you are going to go through on individual basis.
So the mechanics of it are for the staff.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. How are you going to work the mechanics?
Well, very good question. Very good question with that, how that might end up playing out. But I think it's a question for not today. But if we want to add more administrative load, well, okay. Anyone else? There being none, Councillor Peach, you'll close.
Yep.
You're closing?
Already have, yep.
You have? Yep. Okay. I put the motion, don't I? Still, yes. All those in favour? Against, is carried unanimously. Number 11, Audit and Risk Committee, minutes of the meeting held here on the 12th of August. Someone move, please.
Mayor, can I just make a statement on this, please?
Around Audit and Risk Committee.
Yes, about this. Yes.
About this minutes of this meeting.
It's about stuff that's in the minutes. I just want to make a statement about
Briefly.
process. So I just wish to express my disappointment at how a simple and practical request, this is in relation to item 8, practical request has escalated into an unnecessary complexity. This matter began with a proposal to allow the Canalpin Pool Canteen volunteers the discretion to purchase canteen food items using a small delegated allowance from council. It was straightforward, community-minded suggestion and intended to give our volunteers flexibility and to support the canteen's operation. 2 years on, with little progress, the process has spiralled. We have now received 2 lots of legal advice at a cost to ratepayers, a special meeting that was sought but not permitted, and the matter has landed with the Audit and Risk Committee, who are now calling for a risk assessment into the governance of the pool. Who is going to carry out this assessment? What will it actually achieve? What will it cost our ratepayers, and what message does it send? This, in my view, has become less about supporting the community and adapting to its needs and more about winning an argument. This is not what good governance looks like, nor is it what our community expects from us. So I was incredibly disappointed about that whole process. And I won't be voting for the minutes.
So you will not be voting. So, all right, that's a statement. Councillor Qualman, I need someone to move the minutes.
No.
I just wish to speak on the minute if I can.
I'll start with Councillor Qualman.
Yes, regarding the Tuesday, the 12th August minutes for the Audit and Risk Committee, point number 8, it was a formal motion moved by me regarding the terms of second by Councillor Bland that the item be adjourned until the 23rd of September 2025 special audit pending provision of risk assessment on the governance of Canalpin District's Soldiers Memorial Swimming Pool. That quite wasn't my intent, this, Mr Mayor. My intent on the motion was that it be sent to the Government and Policy Review Committee. It doesn't show that.
Through you, Mr. That comment.
That was on the screen. Point item 8. So we're discussing the minutes of this committee. And you're saying to me, as the 2 members that are in the room, that that item, that the minute is not correct. Correct.
So you meant not correct as in how it was recorded or how it was voted on? Which bit is incorrect? Because it was voted on unanimously, so I need to. Then I don't understand how it was voted on unanimously at the time.
Well, through you, Mayor, I was watching that and it was typed up on the screen after the vote had been recorded.
We'll go back and check that.
And Mr Mayor, if I may, that was a formal motion and it was not treated like a formal motion. There were 2 formal motions put during that meeting. A formal motion needs to be dealt with as the formal motion. You can't add to a formal motion.
It's a governance issue then for the chair of that committee, that one. Okay, I've got minutes of a meeting which it appears we want to believe that's not accurate. That'll have to go back to the committee. Can we actually accept the rest of it, precluding item 8?
Receiving minutes. So it's for the committee to actually accept the minutes at their next meeting. And the true.
Yes, yeah.
So you could, you could leave the minute the notes.
Noting that they review item 8
Yeah.
as accuracy. Is that what the process would be?
Well, a question following that
Mm-hmm.
end is that if that happens, then therefore in the short term, it will not go back to the governance risk, the governance committee, on the policy committee, which is the intent.
Someone may
And
comment on that.
secondly, that, are you saying that we will then have to wait also, well, we should wait, in relation to any further, basically this report coming back to council? The intent was that it go back to the governance committee around policy, and it should actually, the intent was for it to go back to them, not to have another report from council itself.
I'll deal with that. And obviously I was at the meeting, and obviously I'm a member of the policy working group with a vote. I made the comment at the Audit and Risk Committee meeting that in order to consider the item, I'd appreciate the fact that the risk assessment was provided as well to the working group. So that would be the intention, to undertake the risk assessment, to provide the full amount of information to the working group, which includes the risk assessment, and then to provide the report to Audit and Risk, and then come back to council with absolutely everything that we believe council needs to make a final decision.
So this motion needs to be rewritten as the intent, because as a seconder of this motion, that was not included within the motion.
No, it wasn't, but my understanding
Only
of the
part was
meeting,
included.
remember the meeting, is that that didn't necessarily mean that that it wasn't understood that it's going to the policy working group next. That was clearly my understanding. The issue will be timing. There's a policy working group next week, Tuesday. That doesn't give us enough time to do the risk assessment. And consequently, I would suggest maybe that 23rd of December special meeting, Audit and Risk is at risk as well. But all the same, the steps forward are risk assessment to be prepared, policy working group, then Audit and Risk, then council.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I understand what our director has said. However, in terms of my understanding of the motion, the only part of the motion that was actually moved from my end of it was that it go back. I understand that there may be a step before that, but it wasn't actually in the motion. I may be quite happy to stand corrected on that. There definitely was the conversation. Agree.
Okay. Is council prepared, someone to move, that we receive the minutes with that notation that item 8, we believe we haven't received it in effect?
I'll move that one.
Councillor Arthur.
We hear
Let's
from
just
them.
get the words right on that item 8. Ashley, I'm seeking your advice.
Yep.
Just having a look, me.
Yep. Is that what you as the mover, councillor,
It'll do.
are happy with? Is that there a seconder for that?
Council Bland.
Waiting to, the problem we got into there is we didn't actually see the formal motion. We're still waiting, Mr. Mayor. That's how we got into trouble before.
The formal motion of that committee,
Formal motion number 8,
Yes.
point 8, the reason we got into trouble is we actually moved it before we actually seen what was on the screen. It was moved with the understanding it was there. So I think I'm just waiting now for that to be finished typed so we can read it. Sorry, in terms of process. Ready? Thank you. Read it.
I need a seconder. Can I ask what happens if we don't receive the minutes?
Ask you move on to the next one.
Last call, councillors, for someone to second that motion.
A question is, if we're going, in terms of a timing, before we go there, is that, should it not then also refer to that and further action? So that in regarding the intent of item 8 recorded in the minutes and action taken. It's just a time delay on all of this. That's my point.
Can someone tell me whether the Governance Working Party is still able to consider this particular issue?
It won't have a full suite of information in front of it. That's the intent.
Mr Mayor, I may.
Hmm.
The issue that I raised with the CEO prior to the audit and risk meeting was that the terms of reference aren't even finalised to the point they should have gone to audit and risk. The council adjourned those terms of reference because at the same meeting, the recommendation from the 41 committee came to us. And that, so it's a chicken and egg situation. Like, I understand through you, Mayor, where the director's coming from in terms of the full suite, but I don't think we've even considered the terms of reference yet to a point that I would say I don't think they're fully developed.
Governance Working Party.
Yeah. So,
Haven't been adopted, have they?
no. And if I may, just while we're on this, Mr. Mayor, noting the director's comment then around the meeting next Tuesday, I do know that's in the email. It's not yet in diaries, so I just wondered if we
Yeah,
could.
I'm pushing for that as well. It's not in my diary as well.
So I'd actually already scheduled out next Tuesday because it wasn't.
May not occur.
Yeah,
What's this one for?
we were due to have a committee
Apologise
meeting
for that.
next Tuesday.
My fault. I have scheduling issues. I'm
No,
sorry.
sorry, we'll maybe talk about that afterwards. Again.
Next proxy for me.
I'll get the last call for the seconder for the move moved by councillor Arthur. Others will just lapse and you won't be receiving the minutes. Okay, the motion lapses for want of a seconder. We move on
Mr Mayor, may I ask this question?
very quickly.
This is an independent, essential part of the Local Government Act to have an audit and risk committee.
Mhm.
And we, as a chambers here, are not going to accept their minutes. I would think
Well,
that would not be acceptable
well,
under legislation.
well, the chamber's made a decision, councillor. Motion lapse for want of a seconder. I move on. Move on, looking for a break in a minute, I can assure you. Murraylands and Riverland Local Government Association, item 12. Minutes of the meeting held on the 31st of July. Murray Bridge, someone move that way. Councillor Coleman. The seconder. Councillor Roundtree, thank you. The discussion around what was in those minutes, councillors?
Is there anything in the minutes that we need to be specifically aware of? There was a lot of reading, but is there anything that should be raised with us?
Perhaps we'll speak to it right now. So, being an election year, Mayor Ella Winnell of Berry Barmer is now our regional leader, along with Mayor Simone Bailey as the deputy. And Mayor Bailey is on SAROC, and there will be some potential changes come out of that, but SAROC is a different process. The CEO is there. Can we comment on this droughtish grant, 140,000 process,
I can
please?
talk about it generally.
Generally.
So, as the Mayor has said, there is a bucket of money of 140,000 that's been allocated per MOLGA. So each group of local government councils, with the intent that there's a consortium arranged, which is the RDA, MR, the Landscape Board and the Council, MOLGA. And so we are just in the process of working out how we spend that 140,000. It's mainly a coordinating amount of money. And so a person will be employed to coordinate the plethora of activity around the drought and the money attached to it, which will be starting to come through over the next little while. The hosting of that position could have been at any of those three organisations, and the decision was made that it will be hosted by the Landscape Board. From a really practical point of view, they've got space at their offices. Hosting it with the MOLGA is too difficult because 8 councils are involved, and that's always a difficult one to share. So the person will be employed using that 140,000 to be the coordinating body with PIRSA and with the RDA, Landscape Board and MOLGA, and that's happening as we speak. First point of, or the first act of that group will be to look at another bucket of money, which is 300,000 that's been allocated as well. That will be split, 100,000 to each of those bodies. So the MOLGA will get 100,000, the RDA will get 100,000, and the Landscape Board will get 100,000. And because we each groups will do a different project around that, the MOLGA group, which is probably the one we're most interested in, is looking at some sort of project that involves succession planning with young people in the agricultural industry, but that's not defined yet. The landscape, 100,000, and as details of that come out, we will circulate. And the RDA are also looking at some project in the mental health area. So there is a lot of money swishing around here, and there's a lot of expectation that projects are put against them, and we're just in the process of working out how that all hangs together, basically. Some of you, no, Mayor, only you went to a workshop probably 6 to 8 weeks ago with those 3 bodies in the consortium, and with a whole lot of external people looking at the MR plan that the RDA had developed, which is basically the blueprint of how resilience and sustainability is built into the local government across this district. And so the projects are trying to focus on what came out of that workshop, which is very high level, but it's about, it's really the planning stages. And so we haven't finalised that about how those 100,000 will be spent. Is that what you're looking for?
That's the best answer we can give you, councillor, around that subject. To say that's been a convoluted and difficult process is an understatement, that one particularly. Councillor Bland.
Yes, through Mr Mayor, 8.4, water advocacy. There's obviously a significant amount of money attached to that between 23-24 to 26-27. Where do we fit, and what is happening in terms of that, this for our area?
Where?
Page 13.
There is a whole, what I'll do, councillors, through you, Mayor, is that there is a whole suite of grants for various things, and this is one of them in that. I will get a copy of that suite, and then we'll work out what that one is particularly about. I'm thinking, and this is just off the top of my head, that is the work that the state have been doing around the audit and the review of the basin plan, and so some of that will relate to that. I would need, but I'll have to come back with you more information on that one.
And I think my point on that also is it would be sad if there was an opportunity in there to miss it by a timing issue.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, any more questions? Councillor Laws, Councillor Qualman, you're the mover. You want to speak or close?
I'll close, thank you.
Thank you. The recommendation is the motion, I believe. The motion, all those in favour? Against, that's carried unanimously. Notes of the meeting of the Governance and Policy Working Group, item 13. I'll move that way, please. Councillor Roundtree. Seconder, Councillor Bland. Any discussion?
No,
Councillor Roundtree, yeah, you got a question?
no, I don't.
Anyone else, councillors? Councillor Bland?
I have a question. There's quite a lot of policies to be reviewed. Can I ask how long each meeting lasts? Just takes a lot of time. I'm just wondering how our council is able to put aside. And we're going to be a long way getting through.
If I may, so the intent that we discussed at that last meeting was that we would have a very long meeting to commence to deal with the backlog policies. Now, I believe, and I don't think that's quite captured here. I did respond around that, but I believe that's been deferred for a month. So the intent from the committee meeting is that we will deal with the backlog upfront and immediately, and then we'll go into a cycle where 3 policies are dealt with. And the other intent was that this would be every month until we get on top of it. So I'm anticipating that the first long meeting could be 6 hours to get through all of them, which might come as a surprise to the director by the looks of that. But if we're going to get through that backlog, I think we're going to have to do something like that.
We have to do it all in one day.
No, it could be spread out, but I think there's a significant chunk that have already received comment that we need to get through. So that was my intent as the chair. There will be snacks.
Good.
important question.
Any further debate, councillors? Receive the Governance and Policy Review Working Group's notes of the meeting held on the 8th of July.
And I'd just note through you, Mayor, if I may, that there was a discussion around the terms of reference and a couple of items were identified as not being particularly easily workable. So that's in the next agenda item.
It would be.
That's to make sure that there's an appointee for the Director of Community and Corporate, and the method of decision making within the committee was a little at odds within the document. So the new document, the next agenda item, just clarifies that so that it's quite clear going forward.
Deal with this one first, then perhaps. I'm going to, you'll close, councillor Roundtree.
Closed.
So the item 13, I'm on, councillors. I'm putting the motion. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried unanimously. Number 14. Then we'll have a small break. Is a recommendation. Someone want to move that way, please? Councillor Peach. Your seconder. The Roundtree, I think. Councillor Peach, you want to speak to it?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As noted, it was the purpose of this is just to tidy it up and make sure it's eminently workable going forward. The director may appoint a proxy place and to clarify the voting procedure. The consensus, but also allowing 7.1 didn't really agree with 7.3 in its current term, but it does now. So that's it from me.
Okay. Anyone else, councillor? No one else? You'll close?
Close.
So the motion is as the recommendation in your agenda, councillors. I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? That's carried unanimously. Can we have a break till 11:45, please?
One hell of a headache. Headache is.
Well, you'll be outrun, was you?
Yep, that is right, because
Like,
We did vote on that last. Welcome back, councillors. 11:47. Number 11.1, information reports, Office of the Chief Executive Officer's report. Will someone move and second that, please, before we take questions? Councillors Coleman and Arthur. Questions, please? Councillor Roundtree.
Yes, so in the community with social media, and it was raised before, I just don't think we should be construing the number of people or the number of followers with any sort of engagement in the post, because I went and had a look at it, and it also comes down to your algorithms. Like even though I'm an elected member, I very rarely have the council stuff show up on my feed. I have to actually go look for it to see what's going on. I think what would be a useful metric to share with us would be the number of likes or shares these sorts of posts received. Like the community grants post had on the 15th of August had 4 likes, 1 comment and 7 shares. So 7 shares is good. It means people are seeing it. It was, but the one about the lost dog on the 13th of August had 19 reactions, 2 comments and 21 shares. So the blood donation one, 0 likes and 0 shares, and the nutrient decisions in grazing systems, 1 like, 2 shares. So I think that sort of metric gives us an idea of who is engaging with our posts, rather than just saying we have X many followers, because that's sort of a, not a very useful number. And under the community library, there's been a paragraph in there that has been consistent for the last 3 years about the relocation of the hub in September 22. I think that probably can come out now. I just think we know that it's been moved. It was a good idea. Maybe, and that section of the report can be tidied up a bit. And the other question I had was about the Google listings and reviews. I found another Google listing from July 25 about the Clinalpin Caravan Park. So I would like to maybe find out where that information is coming from, just so I can follow it myself. There was another 5-star review in July 25 on TripAdvisor. So when it says Google reviews, I'm not sure whether that's a TripAdvisor review or whether that's something different. I'd like that to be a bit better clarified, where that comes from. And so I've got a question. I have some questions in relation to the questions taken on notice. Do you want me to go through those now, or see if anyone else has any?
Report.
All right. So in relation to the questions taken on notice, so in relation to Councillor Peach's question regarding non-rateable properties, can you further explain the consolidation of previous reporting methods so they are consistent with the Office of the Valuer General? I didn't understand that part of it. It said when he questioned the difference, it was consolidation of previous reporting methods so that they are consistent with the office. What did that mean?
Through you, Chair. I'll take it at the general level, but I'll also then take it on notice to give you a more comprehensive answer. The rates officer is currently away, but we are doing a review of all of the activity to do with rates, and the Valuer General data is one of them that we're looking at. Make sure that it's consistent and it's been uploaded into our system appropriately. Probably. Correct. Yep. Ash is just reminding me, but it's about synergy, also making sure it matches with the Valuer General. That's part of a review that we're doing around all assessments at the moment. And so you'll find that some of them need adjusting in some way. And so that is why there was a change in the non-rateable properties. It's no more or no less than just a review of what's there now and that the information is correct.
Right, thank you. My second question was in relation to Councillor Bland's question on the cost of NAIDOT week. And I'm questioning why this has to be a workshop and why we just can't be given information on the cost, including the staff time. And I know I've asked this before, what these events cost, but I don't think drive back to the chamber to have a workshop on it is the sensible way to go when an email with just the data we want would be sufficient? Because we've had a workshop on this previously, and now we're at a point where we just have the data, like
Do
just
you-
give us a cost.
We can definitely do that, and we do that every year, so that's not unusual. But what we do want to discuss with the chamber are the community events that happen on a regular basis. NAIDOC Week is one of them, so we want your input into how next year's might look. We also want to have a discussion with you around other events such as the street party, which this year probably won't go ahead because the Bend are doing other things at the moment. Where do you want the administration to put their energy around those community events? So it was really a broader conversation than just NAIDOC, but we use NAIDOC as a trigger, I suppose, for that briefing. We don't have to have a briefing if you've got a clear view about what we're doing is okay at the moment, and we can come back to you with just the metrics on the costs.
Well, in relation to the extra information you've just provided, it's worth having the workshop. But I guess when it was just on that one issue, it probably wasn't necessary to come back to the chamber. And my third and final question is with regards to the playground inspections, can I be given a report on the canal inspections? So they're all done. Because as I've mentioned before, there's a slippery dip there that has no way for a small child to gain access to. Now, I know it's been said before that that slippery dip is for older children, but it's very hard to tell a toddler not to slide down the slide when it's the only slide in the playground and risk life and limb getting up there. So I want to get a bit more information about when they inspected that. Did someone actually say, yes, this is a safe playground? And does the latest standards call for bark chips to be the soft fall, or are we looking at something less splintery in the future? Is it something that if you change it, it has to be up to code? Or do you have to go through retrospectively looking at playgrounds going, bark chips no longer cut it?
I will take that on notice, but I'll look for the director if he wants to add anything.
Yeah, so my understanding is that bark chip is still deemed a soft fall, and so it can still be used. Appreciate that it could be splintery. The other types of softball, like the rubber matting and so forth, are quite expensive to install and quite expensive from a maintenance perspective. So I suspect that most councils, bark chip is probably still the preferred in most cases. And in terms of the playground reports, we can dig them up and circulate them. That's
Right, thank you.
Other questions, councillor Peach?
Two questions. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I may have missed it in the reports, and sorry if I have, but the outstanding grant applications, I know there's a report on the ones completed, given that we've just gone out.
Did you, sorry?
Sorry, I'm already jumped down there. It's fairly early in the report.
No, where it is, we'll read it. Yep, page 62.
You can reach community grants, councillor.
Yes, given that the community grants opened yesterday, I just wondered if we had an update on the ones still outstanding. Didn't see them in the report.
The three of them there.
3 of them.
That's the completed.
They're the outstanding acquittals. The Yamali Hall, the Tail and Bend Progress Association, and the Meningie Football Club.
Okay, well, there's definitely, so that's the 23, 24.
20,
What about 24, 25?
it is 24, 25, isn't it? Sorry, Kat.
They're not due yet. Does that make sense?
Yep. Okay, so they're not, even though we've gone out, they're still not due.
No.
Currently.
We actively work with every committee, post the grant to get them in as timely as we can, but they're not open.
The second question was from the questions on notice. I'm just getting back to it, sorry. Which was regarding the query raised by Councillor Arthur to do with the Canalpin Pool car park and the pooling of water. I just wondered, it says we're going back to the contractor. I just wondered what that will look like in terms of rectification.
Unless, through you, Mayor, unless the director's got an update, I'll take that. I haven't got an update.
I'll take that on notice.
Councillor Qualman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under the part, section meetings attended by the CEO, the 29th and 30th, Murray-Darling Basin Authority 2025 River Reflections Conference, Murray Beach, please.
Through you, that's a annual conference that's held by the Murray-Darling Basin Authority. I have to say that I was there for the opening and then came back to work because I can't quite remember what the issue was happening. And then I went for the afternoon session on the following day, so I really only was there part-time, to be honest. The themes of the meeting were really around the sustainability of the Murray-Darling, and it's an opportunity for most of the Canberra bureaucrats to come. There's lots of local government, there's lots of not-for-profit groups in the room, and it's generally a conversation about the just about the quality of sustainability. But I have to say that I was only there at the beginning and the end.
Thank you.
Councillor Bland.
Yes, Mr Mayor, stormwater management in Meningie. I note that we are looking at the stormwater management, or have been, adjacent to the Meningie Sailing Club, which would be the corner, I'm assuming, of Selby Road, across
Sorry, where are you reading, councillor?
page 111 in the hard copy. Under the infrastructure.
On the CEO.
I think you,
Oh, apologies.
you've jumped.
I've jumped.
You've jumped. Can
I'll
we-
wait.
Can we unjump?
Can unjump.
Thanks for that.
But you're gonna have to
Yeah,
get.
no,
The questions in the CEO's report.
sorry. My apologies.
Just a couple of quick ones, Mr Mayor, through you. The subscriptions on email, how do we work that 1,065, 600 in there? How do we work them out? Because for years now, every email from the council, I get two copies. So am I counted as one person or two persons?
Are you talking about the distribution of the little community?
Yeah, right up. the
Newsletter?
top. Yeah.
I get two.
Basically, it's how many, I'm not sure whether you're counted as one or two. If you're getting two, then you've probably got your name on two different lists. So you'd be
Comes on the
counted.
same email, I'll get it two
I'm on
every
it as
time.
well.
So
That, whatever, yeah.
we'll have a look to see if we can clean that up. We,
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, how many
if it's
others?
worth.
The other, I started to look at it last night after getting a telephone call. The new application for grants, there was the wish of the chamber that be put in a more user-friendly way.
Yep.
Has that actually been done?
Yes, it has.
Oh, right. So what we call user-friendly and what other people call user-friendly, probably not me personally.
Through you, Mayor, if there are some areas still where you think that community groups are having trouble with it, please let us know. Tammy is working with each of the community groups who normally apply for grants to continue to work with them where that we can free it up. Bearing in mind that when we take out some questions, and I know that we've done that with this time round, it means that at the back end, we still probably have to ask those questions, but it'll be verbally one-on-one with each of the community groups. But if there's an area in that, they have done a lot to tidy it up, but if there's something that is still bothering community groups when you're interacting with them, please let us know.
Yeah. Next one is, has the pay wave system at the Canalpin Pool been changed from $15 to 20?
Yes, Joel's, I'm
Yep.
looking at Joel and he's saying yes, through the chair, it has been updated.
I just got a thumbs up, councillor, so I'll make that assumption.
Yes,
Wait,
it has.
Okay, that's right. Thank you.
Questions? CEO's
No more.
report, councillors, I'm nearly there. You're close.
I'll close. Thank you.
Put the motion. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. We move on to number 2, which will be the corporate and community report. Councillors, questions? We'll do questions first this time. Councillor Roundtree.
Thank you. On organisational development, is the project delivery officer position that's just been filled a new position?
No,
So the person, the person that was there before has moved on?
so if you remember, councillors, the project manager position, which was, oh, how easily we forget,
James Clark.
James Clark, thank you. moved on. That was, Joel is now in that position, and so this is a position that this is Joel's vacant position. It's not a new position.
Through the chair, we slightly changed the title of the position. And that might be where the queries come from.
And I have another question on the customer service statistics. What is the oldest customer service request council has on its books?
I'll take that on notice, councillor.
And of the 30 outstanding, what types of requests are they and how old are they?
I'll take that on notice and I'll do a report.
Other questions, councillors? There is none. Someone move it and second it, please. Councillors Bland and Roundtree are the mover and second. Any further discussion? Being none, I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour? Those against, that's carried unanimously. Number 3 will be roads and infrastructure information report, councillors. Questions? Councillor Qualman.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. 2, please. On the hard copy, general maintenance work, past description, swept footpaths in brackets, stones flicked up by motorbikes, end of brackets, Granite Road, Tarlin Bend. Can we do something about the motorbikes? Are they riding illegally up the railway yard or what's going on?
I'll take that on notice if that's okay, councillor Coleman.
The broadest answer to you, councillor, is that what is a motorbike and what is a scooter is becoming very blurred.
Right.
I think we're going to find this be quite a problem in local government of footpaths being used by scooters, powered skateboards or some version of something with wheels on it. And it's going to become quite a serious issue, which at this stage the state government said they can basically do. Sorry, councillors, I just need to tell you something about this report in relation to the traffic counts that were reported in this document are basically incorrect.
And through the chair,
formatting.
I'll circulate the correct figures at the end of the meeting.
Seems to be a bit of a stubber. Right. So if we could, from a point of view, publicly, those figures in for those 3 roads in this report are not correct.
Formats on, yes.
Councillor Quammen, still
One more.
second question.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just a clarification here. And after talking to Ashley yesterday, I picked up that the second and last page, the photos are regarding curb and gutter renewal program. It shows the one on the second to last page.
Yes.
It's Tarlin Bend and the
Second one's not Tailem Bend, I don't reckon.
Warrangy Drive, I reckon, at Menengi,
I reckon it's near Councillor O'Hara's.
O'Hara's area.
I'm a guesser that looks like Narang Road, Menengi, the second photo. I've spent too much time looking at that photo, working that out, you know.
Well, I thought we had a big downfall, but it looks like heaps of water there.
So I suppose the question to the director is, are we proposing Narang Road, Menengi, or is the photo, the caption wrong against something?
The caption's wrong. Yeah.
Captain's wrong.
So we are proposing that. And my broad question, if I might, add on, is are we doing back to a standard curb and gutter or sit on top?
I'll have to take that on standard.
So not, so as in a proper water table gutter, not a stick on righto. So we are upgrading in a minor way in those 2. So that means, councillors, we're on 2nd Avenue down near the depot and Narang Road in Menengi. Right, councillor Roundtree.
Yes, mine's not a question, but I just wanted to say thank you to the staff for fixing up that cement area by the Canalpin Hall. That looks really great. And for the new gates at the cemetery, it's just really tidied that up beautifully. So thank you very much for getting onto that so quickly.
Other questions, councillor Bland?
Yes, I'm going to work on stormwater here generally.
Well, finally, yeah.
Certainly page 99 first, since we're going through it. I was back to the front. From the stormwater drain to the lake, which we excavated near the gross
Pollutant trap.
pollutant trap.
Yep.
How often is that scheduled to be done?
I will take that on notice, but typically we would do periodic inspections, and it would be, depending on how much is in there, would determine whether we engage a contractor to come and pump it.
Given that I'm fairly certain this was probably one of my requests for services to do, having inspected it, I'm just wondering how often we're doing inspections of some of that drain area.
Yep.
And how that actually works in terms of it being blocked off.
Yeah. Would,
I know there's a lot of new staff who may not understand some of that, so I accept that.
Yep.
To the lake, and my point is about what's going potentially out to the lake with the blockages that happen in that area. My second one, I now jump to where I was before, which is 111 stormwater again in Meningie, with comments about Lake Albert Sailing Club area, and I'm assuming that is Selby. Definitely some work happening there. Correct me if I'm wrong there too, is if that's the drain coming from Swamp 333, I understood that that wasn't meant to go out to the lake.
We'll take that on notice.
yeah, I'll have to take that on notice.
And that was something, I thought it was to go to the lake years ago, and it probably did. And then I was told by previous staff that it couldn't go to the lake anymore because it comes through the swamp.
Yep.
And I guess so that's it. I'm not sure where the other multiple areas are that we're looking at, other unless it's around North Terrace. I think probably a little more information on that. There are some unusual, what we can and can't do with the lake.
Through you, Mayor, we'll take that on notice, but Councillor Bland, what is the concern?
There was somebody working on that corner of Selby Road. And there is a drain on the edge of Selby Road that comes from Swamp 33, back of the school.
Yeah.
On the eastern side of the school. So my understanding from previous staff was we weren't allowed to put that. And that drain would, yes, it would get a certain amount of water in it, which isn't very often, to be honest. However, I'm not sure what we're opening up when it talks about clearing of stormwater drains. There was one to the lake. Should we actually be opening?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I'll take that on notice and I'll provide a response.
Thank you.
Councillor Arthur.
Mr Mayor, through you to Josh. Street sweeper. What is the setup with the street sweeper? I've noticed some time ago back in June or where it was, just before the leaves dropped.
Yep.
Down in the Meridian Strip, the street sweeper was there probably a fortnight before. And then all the leaves started to drop, and then we had a little machine to, fronted to take all those leaves away.
Yep.
And, left it terrible. I see the street sweeper down there today, and I don't reckon they would get enough rubbish to fill a 40-litre bin. So what is, and it seems to be, this will be the fourth time I reckon it's been down there this year, but do we actually look if anything needs to be done, or it's just that, we do it on the 1st, the 5th, the 7th and the 14th?
Through the chair, we're on a periodic roster. So there is some give and take when it comes to leaf fall during autumn, but we're on a set schedule.
Yeah, it's just that it's a long way for it to go to pick up nothing virtually.
Yep.
Through you, Mayor, if we didn't have a set schedule and then we wanted it would be impossible to have it on demand in any way, because it's not our street sweeper. We have it as part of a contract, so they would also be committed elsewhere. So it's a matter of, do we have it on a regular basis, which we think is a reasonable interval? Because I don't think we'd be able to have it on demand, which is, I think, what you're suggesting, Councillor Arthur.
Yeah, it always seems to be, is if we sweep the streets down there just before the leaves start to fall, and then there's just a huge amount of leaves there.
Yeah.
Which needs a little bobcat to clean them up. You just can't clean them up.
Yeah.
With a shovel.
And typically, there should be a sweep once the leaves have started to fall. I'm sure you can appreciate that. No sooner do you sweep a road during autumn that the next day it looks like you haven't been there. So it is, it's not a unique challenge to us, but we can have a look at the schedule and have a chat with EnviroSweep about what type of flexibility is available to us.
And just not part, well, it is part of this grading program. The question is being asked all the time, when are we going to put rollers behind our maintenance graders? And as I said to you earlier today, I did marshalling for the bike weekend and went along, and I come back when I got home and I looked at some of the roads and they've just been graded, and you get weather water, the potholes it's just pushed out. there's no consolidation there. And this is what most of the ratepayers are saying. So are we thinking about, do we listen to the grader drivers and try what they want to do, or what's the
Yep,
story?
through the chair. A-frames are on the back of on the utes, and to pull graders is shortly. We've engaged the supplier, and we're having one of the vehicles fitted up at the moment. The next step will then be to look at the rollers situation. So that's next cab off the rank for us to focus on.
So we've got no intention. We've owned graders which are sitting there doing nothing because, you know,
We own
rollers,
rollers.
are no longer suitable.
Yep.
We
Councillor,
were looking into buying new ones, and that was an investigation by the staff in conjunction with the grader operators before you came here. I must admit it started, but nothing's ever happened about it. And, you know, the grader operators say they want this or something, and our blokes, you're someone, not picking on you, but someone says, no, you need that. So when is it going to be a compromise? Because it's just doesn't do a very good job of
Councillor,
what we're spending.
Councillor, I'm going to answer the question. Everyone has a view on patrol grading. Everyone has a view on whether they should have rollers or not. There's not been a report brought to this council yet. I understand, and you're correct, a couple of years ago there was discussions with the grader operators. Some of them love it, some of them don't. It's been on the back burner for a long time. We need to bring it forward fairly soon. Whether rollers, be it free rollers or others, are of value in patrol grading would be a vexed question. I don't know if you're booked in for Thursday this week for the Roads and Works Conference. No, it's in this area. It's right here at Tailem Bend. We can discuss that with other councils. It's very hard to get a clear line of whether we should have them or not. But you're right, we need to resolve the issue. Last thing I might say is that the three patrol grader rollers we have got, some people think aren't fit for service. I don't know what process they were put through to buy them before my time. But if they're not fit for service, it's also awkward.
And the final thing I'll add is that when there was a workshop, and I believe there was and then a report that a motion came out about the A-frames, is we can't tow free rollers and vehicles, like we've established that, and there was efficiency to be gained, productivity to be gained through towing vehicles, finding a towing solution for the vehicles, and the next cab off the rank was then to look at rollers, because unless we've look at a different type of rollers on a free roller, we'd then have to look at potentially a separate towing a roller with a tractor of some sort, separate to what the grader operators are doing. So it's the next cab off the rank.
Okay. Councillor Peach.
Yeah, I'd just like to compliment staff on the delivery of a number of these capital projects. It's great to see them come to fruition after a fair bit of discussion. And that's the park in Tinty, Kinalpin car park, and Meningie and Tailem car parks as well. I just had a couple of questions, if I may. The first one is around the Meningie car park. The waterfall in that car park, is that back towards the road?
I would hope so. Yes. Yes.
Cool. Thank you. And just around the line marking for the car park at Tinty, I just wondered if we had a rough idea on when that might be delivered.
You'll have to come to a mic.
And while that's happening, Mr. Mayor, this is a personal comment, but my kids have used that park a number of times in the last few weeks. And
through the Mayor, just quickly with regards to the car parking at Tinty. So very early on in the piece when we were consulting on that project, we spoke with DIT, noting that it's their road reserve and any works needs to be subject to their approval. In principle, at the time, they expressed no issue with what we were proposing. And then in typical form, when we go to do it, we've had to go through a whole review process of what we're going to do, and had to meet their standard requirements. So that's taken some time to work through. So still absolutely intention to deliver more formalised parking in front of it. Just had to go down a review path with DIT that we hadn't envisaged or were not advised at the first point of consultation that we would need to do.
Other questions while Joel's sitting at the front?
Yeah, just while you're on the Joel, the footpath that goes along the front of the fence, is that going to have a buffer zone on it so the cars can't go up and park over it, so you can't use the footpath? If you get permission to, mark that car park area?
You're talking about Tintinara?
Sorry?
You're talking about Tintinara?
Yeah.
Yep, so the design will be provision that'll have wheel stops so the cars can't impede on it. So there'll be 1.5 metres of footpath fence side of the cars for people to get to the gates.
The other question there is, could you put a sign up so people can find the gates?
Sure.
Because it's virtually impossible to find the gates, because they're all one colour and there's no change, you go along.
Yeah.
And that has been, it's asked me about 10 or 15 times, where's the gates here? Particularly along the front, not by the toilet side, but along the front side.
Through the Mayor, thank you. Take that on notice and consider an option
gates
to make it more obvious.
Okay. Any other questions, councillors? We're just about there. Councillor Maidman.
Thank you, Mayor. Just very quickly, how often do the barbecues get cleaned? Do we know that offhand? They look brilliant and it's a hygiene issue, so.
Yeah, through the chair. Look, they would be inspected weekly and then cleaned. So if,
Perfect.
patch, they'll be done. If they're okay, then they'll be left a week.
Yeah, so it's got to be pretty regularly. How many have we got? 1, 2, just trying to think. Yeah, I was just trying to. Thank you. Right.
Okay. Done with questions? I'm going to ask someone to move and second that report, please. We receive it. Councillor Qualman and Councillor Maidman. Any other questions, debates? Nothing. I'm going to put the motion that we receive and note the report. All those in favour? Those against? That's carried unanimously. Item 12. Questions with notice. I have none. Without notice, councillors. Councillor Qualman.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I have two, if I may, please. First one, had a question raised from a local resident out Jaybuck Way regarding Jaybuck South Road, the resheeting program. How on table for that, please?
Yep, through the chair. Obviously, it's on the renewal list this year. We're currently scoping that up, and it'll be one of the first ones that we commence. So it'll be the next this side of Christmas.
And my next one is, I did briefly speak about it before, Mr. Mayor, and that is Narung Jetty. Where is council sitting on regarding what they're doing?
That will come to the next roads and infrastructure meeting. There's a report about the condition, which we've now got. It just asks for some historical information, which will be contained in that as well, and then options about what next.
Thank you.
We know, councillor, that you won't be there at the kick-off time.
No,
Potentially.
probably about 11 o'clock.
That'll be just fine.
Thank you.
Councillor Roundtree was next.
Thank you, Mayor. With regards to the Canalpon swimming pool, what volunteer options have been or are currently being explored to assist the on-duty lifeguard at the pool during the morning swim sessions? I understand that a report is being tabled for September, but before we get to that point, I want to have information on what avenues are being explored so that the meeting in September, we have a workable solution that can be implemented ahead of the October meeting time, opening time. I know I've asked for this before, wanting to know what we are actually considering, as I don't think there's any point getting to 1 month before the opening of the pool to realise that perhaps the options are not actually going to be suitable. So I'm really keen to get, as soon as possible, an idea of what you're looking at, whether it's personal devices or whatever it is, because honestly, they're going to open in October and they're going to want their morning swims to start, and we've had a year to do it.
We actually have a report that we were bringing to this meeting, but it wasn't finished. So do you want to just generally talk about? First of all, we are considering options about the volunteers and about the lifeguards and that. And I probably take exception to the fact that we would put up option that was not suitable, because we have legislation and it's strongly, it's a high risk facility and we do have options around volunteers and lifeguards. And so we've been working with the legislation as it stands. And there is also best practice around this. And so we haven't quite worked out what the best options are to come back to you, but we can do that out of session, or we can bring it probably to the R&I committee.
So basically, off the back of the codes of practice, there's 3 to 4 options for council's consideration, and there's a variety of different financial implications and risk implications for that. So what the reports tried to do was look at what the current practice is, what the current operations and how we manage that, what the SA life-saving codes of practice says, and then what options are available to us, noting that the pool's got some challenges compared to some of like the Murray Bridge pool in terms of location, so on and so forth. So there is something, CEO, I'm happy I can distribute the options prior to the meeting so that elected members consider that and then come to the meeting with,
That would be great, thank you.
You had more?
No.
Councillor Bland, I think was next.
Yes, I'd like to just follow up on a couple of things. One's already been mentioned, and that was Councillor Peach in relation to the Narung Jetty inspections. Would like to think that that includes how often, and I'm assuming we have a policy around that somewhere, or a statement of inspection, how often, how it's reported, and when do councillors find out to what extent there is damage and not find that we have a major issue like we have now, and what are the requirements in inspection of jetties. And the second one that also worries me a little bit is around playgrounds, and basically the same questions. How often, by whom, and can we have them reported through to council on a regular basis as to what we're facing?
So we can add those couple of questions, but pretty much Councillor Peach's questions will cover that off the historical information as well, but we'll make sure that the questions you just added.
And if we could add the playgrounds to that.
And the playgrounds, we will circulate what the legal requirements are, what our inspection regimes are.
Yeah, I can confirm that, but basically there's an independent inspection done once per year that is mandatory, and we have to do that. And then there is periodic inspections undertaken by staff that have had appropriate training that happens in the interim between those.
That's the playground.
That's for playgrounds, yes. Yep.
Sorry, can we also define what periodic means? I don't want to be pedantic about it.
Yeah, I'll get what that frequency is.
Thank you.
Questions without notice, councillors? I'm nearly done. Okay. Move on. Motions with notice. I have nil. Motions without notice. I have nil. Minute action list, councillors. Question mark. Questions around the formatting and how it is and what you are interested in. Sorry, Councillor Peach.
It's about 302-24, which is the Kalkawara intersection. I believe that's actually complete or not quite?
Not quite. And I'll be quite delicate about how I answer this. But as Joel alluded to with DIT, you get one thing and then verbally, and then when we go to submit, we get something different. So we DIT have come back to us. They've asked for a little bit further information and a traffic impact statement. We've now provided that. We're waiting for them to basically give us. But it's something that their traffic department is under a lot of, there's quite a backlog of requests at the moment. So the last time we lodged something, we got an email saying that there is a backlog and response is going to be delayed. So yeah, we're waiting on them. Hopefully it won't be too much longer.
Keep going. Any other questions on the minutes action list, councillors? Being no more, we move to the next agenda item. It's confidential items, councillors. Councillors, for those watching the live stream, please be advised the meeting is about to move into confidence and the live stream will stop. For those who wish to view the end of the meeting, the video will be available on YouTube after today's meetings.